everyone. Welcome to the Brother Be Well platform. Welcome to another episode of the BBW Youth Chats. Today's topic is choosing your peers wisely. I'm your host, Justin Martinez, and with me as a co-host today is Dr. Michael Houston. How you doing today, Dr. Michael?
Doing good. Good to be here. Appreciate it, Justin.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm very, very honored to introduce our guests, our youth, who are going to provide us a lot of incredible insight. Mustafa, Nick, and Shamar. How are you all doing?
Pretty good.
Doing good.
Right on. So let's jump into it. Today's topic is choose your peers wisely. Why is it important for us to choose our peers wisely? And I think what I've learned throughout my 30 years of being on the earth is that I'm the average of the 5 people that I hang out with. And what that means is that I'm listening to their insights. I'm getting their energy. I'm doing the things that they're doing, positive or negative. And that has a huge impact on how I move and how I behave and what the things that I accomplish. So a lot of us don't realize how important it is to choose a good group of peers that are going to always want the best for you, always going to want to push you out of your comfort zone, always going to want to help you when you're in need or, pick you up when you're down. Those things are super, super important to one's development and what they end up achieving in life. So I would love to open up the floor to anyone who wants to jump in and add their insight to why choosing your peers wisely is so important.
I had this experience actually in middle school. My peer group wasn't too, we'll say it wasn't too good for my state of being, especially being middle school where I need to focus on grades and getting to high school. And I didn't figure that out until later on in high school. And I look back on that and I say, those friends were limiting they were limiting me. I could have been getting a lot better grades than I did. And now I know that. So now in high school, as a sophomore, I surround myself with a better peer group that's going to support me rather than kind of deplete me to a point of where I can't succeed. I want to be able to succeed in life, and I hope that my peers will succeed with me in life.
It's a good point, Shamar. It's a very good point. Any other thoughts or insights?
Man, I have had some experiences with the wrong friend group for sure.
Yep.
And the wrong friend group will derail your entire future. Everything, it's just bad. It's just all bad when you're trying to fit in, especially like freshman year. You're new to high school. It's a brand new environment and you just want to fit in, and you fall in with the wrong people. It's all bad. And you'll end up doing things you definitely should not be doing. And it's not good. So I feel like surrounding yourself with the right people is paramount.
I couldn't agree with you more. I really couldn't. I think, throughout the journey, I think we all find ourselves in the wrong crowd at times, and it's like a wake-up call, and you guys have both really touched on some very important things, so I thank you for sharing that.
I do want to add something. I do want to say it's not, we can't always blame it on the friends. We also have to take some part of responsibility for that. So that's what I learned talking to my grandfather about it, because he always looks back and says, why were you hanging around those knuckleheads? And I look back and I say, well, I guess I was a knucklehead back then too, but now that I think about it, I allowed myself to go hang around those knuckleheads. I allowed myself to go hang around people who were going and getting into trouble, and we all, and it's just like Nicholas said, we all want to fit in, and that was the group that was fitting in more because they were messing around and getting in trouble, and so that made me fit in. But now that I look back and I said, well, those knuckleheads weren't fitting in; they were just getting suspended most of the time.
Mm.
If I could piggyback off that, I agree. Absolutely. Take that responsibility, because it's so easy to just blame it on the crowd and be like, oh, they were messing up. Man, I shouldn't have been with them. But you have to take the responsibility to be like, I was with them. I made that choice. I made the conscious decision to go along with them and do what they were doing. And when you realize that, then you can break that cycle of, oh, it was their fault, not me. I'm not bad, they're bad. But you have to realize you were doing those bad things too, right along with them.
Right.
Adding to Nicholas and Shamar here, you could either build off of your friends or they could just drag you with them. And hanging around with bad groups and not really, people will just assume that if they get in trouble, you'll also get in trouble. And you'll get dragged with them into the trouble. So they'll just assume you're a troublemaker just as much as your friends.
Mm.
And you say, well, I'm not a troublemaker. They are. I'm not. And yes, you may be true. You may not be getting in trouble. But do realize people are assuming that you are a troublemaker just as much as they are. So working with a much group that's much more helpful, more cooperative, more help, and then you could just go off of them. You could just feed off of their energy. You could tell they're energetic. You could tell that you could just learn new things from them. If you're not the best, or if you're the best person and you have nothing to learn from that group, you're in the wrong group.
Mm.
You always try to learn from others. And the way I see it is you always try to grow from your group, not getting dragged with your group downhill.
Yeah, one little thing on that. This is the last thing I'll say on it, but Grandpa always tells me you are defined by your friend group. So if you go to an interview and your friends pick you up and whoever interviewed you looks and says, well, that friend there, he doesn't look like he's too keen on an education. He just looks like he wants to go throw his life away. That's going to affect you. It's not going to affect him because he doesn't care, but it's going to affect you because you decided to hang around that person, and it affected you because she saw you or he saw you get in the car with somebody who wasn't too keen on their education. Well, she's saying, well, what is, I see him, he came in there and he put on a nice mask and said, this is, I want to get this job, this, that, and the other. I'm a really good person. But then he goes and he hangs around these people. So I feel like you have to make sure your peer group is what's going to define you.
I like that. You guys all have very, very incredible insight. You bring me back to being young and realizing, what path I could have went down if I kept hanging out with the people that I was hanging out with.